For more information, please visit our website at DarkCybernetics.com. This is DarkCybernetics Space Shooter Games in SDL2. Follow along with our free course documentation. In this video, we will discuss some of the previous features we had for game loop, where we talked about the game loop and how to render things to the screen and input and output classes for different features of SDL. In this video, we will quickly discuss how to set up code blocks and to create a game window. We know that when we have a game window, there is different size screens that we can access. As you know, there are power of 2, and there are also other features of a game that we need to have in mind, like the game or GUI menus and win and loss states and hash scores. Also, it is important nowadays to have a checklist of certain features of a game, and also it is important to know about the different architectures which we have now, from single core to multi-core, and what we're going to use for a 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional thing. Let's get down to business. For this series, we'll talk about creating space shooter games, meaning we're going to address different features, and if no one decides, we'll call a vote. If no one decides, we're going to start at the top and work our way to the bottom. As far as game design features, we do not own the trademarks to these features or things, so we're just going to make a fan game based on each one of these topics to express game design features which will be more entertaining. So let's hit code blocks. Well, when we go to the code blocks compiler, we need to create a new project, and we go to the new tab, and we go to what we say. There are other features here, right? Let's go. We can check the version. So when you have the version of code blocks, you need to know what type of DLL to use. We're using a 32-bit version of code blocks, so our project would have to be correlate to the type of engine features for the simple direct media layer. Alright, so we know we're using 32-bit, so we have to create a new project. Inside of code blocks, there are other templates for OpenGL, other things, right? We just need to click the project 2 folder, right, the SDL2 project, and click the OK. We want to name our project something, right, and we have to put it somewhere. We can just call it Game 1, maybe, right? Or we can name it the name of our project. This is a live demonstration. It's a little easier this way if we just discuss it while we do it. So Game 1, and we have to give it a nice static location. And your computer may look something like this. This is a Windows-based machine, and we put ours in the downloads folder, which you like folders here. And we have this is supposed we're making a Men in Black fan game, right? Everyone likes sci-fi, and it's timeless. We can work on that year-round. It's not seasonal, so it's called. And we're going to we name the project. You can name it so whatever you want to name it there. And we go press the next button. And this little folder here, it says put the select the SDL2 folder. We need to go and explore our machine, and if you put your SDL2 folders somewhere else on your machine, other than the where I put my folders in, for the simple direct media layer, because there are so many versions of SDL, I started to store them and keep up with the different changes in the simple direct media layer, because I work on other projects. But for this particular demonstration, we just need to go and find our version of SDL2 to find the include folder first, right? We need to go down to or if we have an SDL2 folder, we don't want this folder. We actually want the folder that the particular version we're using, and then you would press next, and then this process would be over. But to do the simple way, we need to go and find the include folder, right? And we go to the same location, and if you sort yours in the downloads folder, it might be a little bit more advantageous for you to go about doing it that way, right? Yeah, okay, we're going back to it. We have to find the SDL2 folder again, and we have to find the version. For this version, we're using the mean 32-bit version of SDL. And this is the version 10, because since we've started this series, they've updated SDL again. It happens, by the time before the series is over, it may be on 12 or maybe even 3.0, who knows. But anyway, we need to find the mean 32-bit, right? And we need to find the include folder. And we'll do the same process for the lib folder. If we're using another type of compiler, you just need to copy the path and paste it there, and maybe just type lib over it. And that would save you about 13 minutes as far as installing SDL is concerned. We're just going to use the template for SDL. See here, there are other projects we can do using simple direct media layer. We can name it, and moving, scrolling. If we're making a platform, we need to know about gravity, some math things. Well, today we won't go into those type of features. We're just going to go back to install SDL2, right? Alright, okay. So we need to go back to the SDL2 folder and find the lib folder. And if you overparent it, it may have, in certain compilers, it gives you a problem or an error, right? Or if you put it in some other, you put it on the desktop, it will not compile, right? And you also need to be aware that you have to put the SDL2 DLL in the folder. We talked about that before. Some compilers will allow you to store the material for your SDL2 project, so you can go back to it and save it as a template. So every time you start a project, you can just you remember to put all the folders in a particular location, right? So we go to the same folder, and this time we have to explore the same path. We're using 32-bit. If you're using 64-bit, you'd have to go to the 64 portion, and we click on the lib file, right? Lib, and for the object, I'm not sure what the object is. We can go look for it if we wanted to, or not, because it says here it's mandatory, but it's not really mandatory. But we can go find the bin file, right? We can find the bin file. The bin file is also in the same location as the other files, and we have to explore wherever we put the SDL templates and other features of the Simple Direct Media Layer. There are other attributes. If you wanted to install the other libraries like lib, you also have to do it a different way. We won't go into that today because there's no time. By the time you install SDL, it feels like you've accomplished a great task, and so this is a one-day thing, right? If you have this installed, you want to go back to it. So we have to find the bin file, and we click the folder, and then we click the close button here at the bottom of the code blocks compilers, but it says the invalid location. How to fix this? You just have to explore the SDL path, or the version of SDL you intend to use. As we were talked about before, we're using the 32-bit version of SDL2, so we have to scroll down to the version 10, the main, and just that folder that we use, right? And we click it sees the files here. We just want to be able to find the location for our activities, and we press next and we press finish here, right? And it should give you some project options. Inside the project options, it'll have a source folder, and our source folder shows us our main.cpp file, which is our C++ file. And this one, it also has some other features, and since it has a template, right? If it works for the template, it should work for our project. And it has a main class, and it has an SDL class, and it also has some error and SDL files. But if we click the button and we try to compile it, it may give us an error for a variety of reasons. One of which reasons is the include file. It says SDL.h, the header file for SDL. And we look into a project folder. We know we have to move the computer over so we can see the file. Let's move it over a little bit so that the people can see the areas. Okay, we have to go and find the SDL2 DLL we use. So if we use the 32-bit, we have to find the 32-bit DLL inside of our project folder, and copy and paste that into the drive, and that should fix one error. So we're using the main 32-bit. It's in most of the folders here, but we can just get it out of the bin file, right? That should have a DLL, the SDL2.dll. We'll copy that file, right, and paste it over into the project folder inside of our downloads folder for Men in Black game fan game. And we have some images of the Men in Black. Okay, that's reasonable. All right, this is as information. We need to be close to the main so it can read it and be able to find it in the path files. And we can reparent this and add other folders later, but it's not a today problem, right? So we press build again, and it still gives us an error. It gives us a red square by here. So we just have to search the SDL2 DLL. If we install SDL2, we should be able to search to fix this problem. So we just need to type SDL2/ and we can click on it right here. And when we recompile it, it should give us the version of SDL, right? It may take a few seconds for it to compile based on your machine. This is an older architecture, so we have to change the way the code works. You also be aware of that when you design different projects or different types of architecture. It's continuously static, and it may run faster on other hardware. And we talk about regulating frames per second and other things on another video. We talked about that in the classwork. So anyway, we have no errors down here at the bottom. It goes in red. It says, well, there's no errors. Click the run button, and it gives us a command prompt, and that usually shows the errors. And for this project, since we know SDL is installed, it's just drawing lines for each particular version of the screen, and it's segmented into different areas. And we know SDL is installed, and all we have to do now, since SDL is installed, it creates a window. It has some error classes, and it has some other features we can use and pop out if we don't need them, right? We don't need to worry about that, right? There's some other things here if you're not familiar with void, virtual functions, and try-catch blocks. We have a basic example here. We can just pop out these things and use the OR clause here for different versions of SDL. And we have some of the here what SDL set draw color, and we set a background of black, and then we scroll over different features of it, and we define the particular class in the draw function, right? Simple and easy to go about. And since we have a window working, we'll work on something else later. And for more information, please visit our website at DarkCybernetics.com.